Hi, my name is Adam Downing. I am the chair of the Appalachian Society of American Foresters, and it's my privilege and honor to serve you in that way. Thank you. I want to have a brief video meeting with you today about some changes that are coming to our organization that are big and necessary. And they relate to governance and how we're organized. So organizational structure, governance, what does that mean? Well, it kind of boils down to this. We need to have the right pieces in place so that the federal government sees us as what we are, and that we can report back up to the federal government in the proper fashion. So that sounds fairly simple, but the changes that need to be made are fairly complex. Let me give an illustration that I found helpful, that Tom Davidson shared with me and I could relate to, and perhaps you can too. An old house. The first house that my wife and I bought was 60 years old when we bought it. And it had never been updated. It was all original, all the way from the wool carpet to the paint. And we wanted to make some changes. So we changed some things. We painted, we put new flooring in, and those were fun. We could see those changes and we really enjoyed those. But the changes that were most important and helped me sleep best at night were things like putting a new roof on, updating some electrical stuff, and plumbing. These are the ones that are hiding. They're more expensive, harder to do, not as fun, right? Well, APSAF is kind of like that. We're an old organization. Our governance and structure of 100 years ago worked well for a long time, but it's kind of fallen apart now. And one of the things that keeps coming up to show how it's not working quite so well is banking. So many chapters have run into problems when they're trying to change treasurers or change bank accounts. And so a few years ago, previous leadership of APSAF started working on this, but ran into some barriers. Well, I'm happy to say that now we've got those barriers removed and the right people in place. So at the beginning of the year, I appointed a task force made up of Ann Jewell and Tom Davidson, co-leading the effort, both of whom were involved in this some years ago and have an intimate understanding of what's been going on. And Ann now is on the governance committee of National Society of American Foresters. So she's in a great position, and Tom has been fantastic in keeping things moving and making connections with other professionals. The other two people on our committee are Tony Doster, who is our treasurer for many years, and he is already made a lot of changes over the past couple of years for our financials. And so that's great, and will make it easier to make some additional changes. And then Patrick Hiesel, who is a past recent chapter chair of the Kiwi chapter in South Carolina. And he first brought the issue to me as kind of a first-hand account, so that that was my awareness of the issue. And so these four, in addition to myself, have been meeting on a regular basis and have recently begun meeting with an attorney and a CPA who we have engaged to help us through this process because it is very complicated. And so we're really happy about these professionals. They have a good understanding of nonprofit organizations. In addition, an appreciation for what we, as natural resource professionals, as foresters, what we do. And so, okay, I just said the word attorney and CPA. You're probably seeing dollar signs. Yep, it is. These people are not cheap. That's one thing I don't like about this whole process. The other thing is it's just not the fun kind of work, and it's hard. But I have 5 things that are good to balance out those 2 things, okay? And one is, the good news is we have the financial resources as an organization. Thanks to great management in the past, thanks to generosity of members and volunteers, we are in a good position to be able to handle this financially. Secondly, the volunteer team that I just described to you, the task force, Tom, Ann, Tony, Patrick, they are the right people for this situation. I'm really happy they're in the right place. They have the passion and the determination to see this thing through this year and be done, get the things done that need to be done. Secondly, no, that was a second. Thirdly, I think the changes we're making are actually going to make it easier, more attractive for volunteers to step up into leadership and other roles within our organization going forward, because we're going to have some better coverage for organizational officers and that kind of thing. Fourthly, I think it's going to improve and make some things easier at the local level, especially the chapter level with regard to financial management. Maybe we can support that at the APSAF level and get that done. So stay tuned on that. We really have the local chapter in mind with these changes, wanting to take every opportunity to make things easier. And lastly, quite simply, it's the right thing to do. You know, as foresters, look at this woods behind me. If I was stepping into these woods to manage it, I'd be having a mind toward 100 years from now. What's the future going to be? I want to do the things now that are going to be an improvement for the future, right? And that's quite simply what we're going to be doing here. We're going to do the right thing. And so thank you for joining me for this little video meeting. I hope that you will read the article in the Trailblazer on this topic and the other articles that are in the Trailblazer as well to know what's happening in this great organization. And thank you once again. Have a good day.